Have you ever felt the sting of silence? You know he loves you. You can see it in his eyes, in the way he holds your hand, in the way he has been there for you. But suddenly, there's a distance, a wall of silence. And you begin to ask yourself, did I do something wrong? Has he stopped loving me? I'm here to tell you today that love is not always loud. Sometimes love withdraws, not because it has disappeared, but because it is struggling, fighting battles you cannot see. And if you don't understand this truth, you may push away a love that was never meant to leave you. You see, men are raised in a world that tells them to be strong, to be a provider, to carry burdens in silence. And when those burdens become too heavy, their instinct is not always to talk, it is to retreat. They step back, not because they don't care, but because they don't know how to bring you into a storm they themselves do not fully understand. But I want you to hear this. Distance does not always mean disinterest. Silence does not always mean absence. And withdrawal does not always mean rejection. A man who loves you might ignore you for reasons you cannot see. Maybe he is afraid of showing weakness. Maybe he is fighting doubts about his worth. Maybe he is carrying a weight so heavy that he would rather suffer alone than let you feel the pressure of it. And here's where most people make a mistake. They respond to his silence with frustration. They push harder. They demand answers. But my friend, love is not built on demands. Love is built on trust. It is built on patience. It is built on understanding that sometimes silence is not an absence of love. It is love trying to find its way back to you. So, what should you do when a man you love ignores you? Should you chase him down? Should you beg for answers? No. Instead, be still. Be present. Give him space, but let him know you are there. Because a man who truly loves you may walk away for a moment, but he will always find his way home. And when he does, when he finally speaks, listen with a heart that understands, because sometimes the greatest act of love is not in the words spoken, but in the patience shown in the waiting. Stay with me, because by the end of this message, you will see love from a new perspective. You will not just hear about love. You will understand how to fight for it, protect it, and never let it go. A man's deepest struggles often remain hidden beneath the surface, unseen by the very people who love him the most. While the world sees strength, confidence, and control, inside he may be wrestling with fears, insecurities, and responsibilities that weigh heavily on his heart. These burdens can become so overwhelming that they cause him to withdraw, not because he has stopped caring, but because he does not know how to share them without feeling weak. From a young age, many men are conditioned to believe that emotions are a sign of vulnerability, and vulnerability, in their eyes, is something to be avoided. They are taught to be providers, protectors, and pillars of strength, carrying the weight of expectations on their shoulders. When life begins to test them, through financial struggles, career pressures, personal failures, or even their own self-doubt, they often retreat into a space of solitude rather than open up about their fears. Not because they do not trust the person they love, but because they fear being seen as less than what they believe they should be. This internal battle creates a painful contradiction. He loves deeply, but in his mind, love is also responsibility. It is the ability to provide, to lead, to offer security. And when he begins to question whether he is capable of fulfilling these roles, his instinct may be to pull away, not because he wants to, but because he believes it is necessary. He does not want to be a burden. He does not want his struggles to bring you pain. So he isolates himself, hoping that he can fight this battle alone and return to you as the man he thinks you deserve. For the woman on the other side, this silence can feel like abandonment. It can feel like rejection, like a sudden shift from warmth to coldness without explanation. But in reality, his withdrawal is not about a lack of love. It is about his struggle to reconcile love with the pressures he carries. He may sit in a room full of people and feel completely alone, not because he lacks companionship, but because he is fighting a war within himself that no one else can see. Understanding this changes everything. Instead of reacting with frustration or taking his distance personally, it allows you to see the heart beneath the silence. It helps you realize that sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is simply be present, without pressure, without demands, because in the depths of his struggles, what he needs most is not to be pulled out of them, but to know that when he is ready, he will not face them alone. Sometimes a man pulls away not because his love has faded, but because he wants to shield you from the weight he carries. He may see himself as a protector, someone whose job is to keep you safe, not just from physical harm, but from the emotional storms that rage within him. And so, rather than risk letting his struggle spill over into your life, he chooses distance. Not because he wants to be apart from you, but because he believes stepping back is the best way to protect you. Men are often taught that love means providing, leading, and being strong. But what happens when he feels like he is failing in one of these areas? What happens when his confidence is shaken, when life hands him challenges that make him question his ability to be the man he wants to be for you? His instinct may not be to share the burden, but to carry it alone. He convinces himself that if you saw him at his weakest, if you knew the full weight of his struggles, you might look at him differently. And so, rather than risk disappointing you, he chooses silence. He creates distance, not to push you away permanently, but to find his strength again before returning. This can be one of the most painful experiences in a relationship because love thrives on connection, on communication, on knowing that you are in this together. And yet, to him, pulling away feels like the most responsible thing to do. He does not want you to see him when he is uncertain, when he is questioning his own worth. He does not want you to worry about things he believes he should handle on his own. In his mind, love should not be a burden, and he would rather suffer in silence than risk making you feel the weight of his struggles. But what he does not realize is that love is not about perfection. Love is not about presenting only the best parts of ourselves while hiding the battles we fight inside. Real love is found in the moments of weakness, in the willingness to be seen even when we feel unworthy. And though he may believe that pulling away is an act of love, true connection is built when two people stand together, even in the storms. Because love does not need distance for protection. It needs trust, honesty, and the courage to let someone in, even when the weight feels too heavy to carry alone. Fear of vulnerability is one of the greatest reasons why a man who loves you might ignore you. From the outside, he may appear strong, composed, and confident, but inside, he is often wrestling with emotions he does not know how to express. Society has conditioned many men to believe that showing emotions, especially fear, sadness, or insecurity, is a sign of weakness. So even when he deeply loves you, even when he wants nothing more than to be close to you, his fear of being vulnerable can make him withdraw. For a man, vulnerability can feel like a loss of control. It requires opening up, exposing fears, and admitting that he does not always have the answers. And while women are often taught that sharing emotions is natural and even necessary for connection, many men grow up believing the opposite. They are taught to suppress their feelings, to figure things out on their own, to be the strong, silent type. So when he finds himself in a situation where he feels emotionally overwhelmed, he does not always know how to process it in a way that allows love and connection to remain intact. Instead, he distances himself, hoping that by stepping back, he can regain control over what he is feeling. This fear of vulnerability is especially strong in relationships that truly matter. With a woman he cares about deeply, the stakes feel higher. If he allows himself to be seen fully, honestly, and without the mask of strength, what if she sees something in him that she does not like? What if she realizes he is not as strong as she thought? What if she loves the idea of him, but not the reality of his struggles? These fears do not mean he does not trust you. They mean he does not trust himself to be fully known without being rejected. And so, rather than risk exposing his deepest thoughts and fears, he chooses to remain silent. His silence is not meant to hurt you. In fact, in his mind, he may believe he is protecting you from his inner turmoil. But what he does not realize is that love thrives in openness, not in retreat. The very thing he is afraid of, being fully seen and accepted, is the foundation of true intimacy. And though it may take time, patience, and reassurance, a man must come to understand that real love is not built on the illusion of strength, but on the courage to be vulnerable, even when it feels like the hardest thing to do. Love is often misunderstood as constant closeness, as an unbroken stream of affection and attention. But true love is far deeper than surface-level emotions. It is not just passion, it is wisdom, patience, and the ability to endure moments of uncertainty. A man who truly loves you might ignore you not because he has stopped caring, but because he is navigating the complexity of love in a way that does not always look the way you expect. Men and women often express love differently. Women by nature are more expressive, more verbal, more emotionally connected in the way they communicate their feelings. When a woman loves, she wants to share, to talk, to be close. But for many men, love is something they express through action rather than words. When a man is silent, it does not necessarily mean he is indifferent or that his feelings have changed. Sometimes he is processing, thinking, or even struggling with emotions he does not yet have the words to express. He may believe that stepping back is necessary, not to hurt you, but to figure out how to move forward in a way that strengthens the relationship rather than weakens it. Love requires understanding, not just emotion. It is easy to feel warmth and connection when everything is going well, but true love is tested in the moments when things are uncertain, when there is silence, when there is distance. A man's silence can be frustrating, even painful, but it is in these moments that the depth of love is revealed. Do you react with fear, assuming the worst? Do you push, demand, and let insecurity take over? Or do you step back with trust, allowing him the space to work through what he needs to while still being a steady presence in his life? Many relationships struggle because people expect love to always be easy, always be available, always be reassuring. But real love is not about constant validation. It is about faith in the connection, even when words are few. A man may pull away because he is uncertain, because he is dealing with his own battles, or because he is afraid of saying the wrong thing. But if he truly loves you, his heart is not far, even if his actions seem distant for a time. Instead of reacting with frustration, respond with patience. Instead of demanding answers, offer quiet understanding. Because in the end, love that is built on emotion alone will waver, but love that is built on trust will endure, even through moments of silence. When a man who loves you begins to withdraw, it is easy to assume the worst. You might question whether he still cares, whether his feelings have changed, or whether he is pulling away because something is wrong with the relationship. But love is not just about feelings. It is about understanding. It is about seeing beyond the surface of his actions and recognizing that love is more than grand gestures and constant reassurance. It is built on patience, trust, and the ability to endure even the moments when emotions are unclear. Many women seek security in love through words, affection, and attention. They feel most connected when their partner expresses his feelings openly and consistently. But men do not always communicate love in the same way. A man might deeply love you, yet struggle to articulate that love in ways you expect. He might not always say the right words or offer constant reassurance, but his love is shown in his commitment, his presence, and even in the battles he fights to become a better man for you. True love is not just about passion, it is about wisdom. It is knowing when to lean in and when to give space. It is recognizing that love does not mean constant closeness, but rather an unshakable bond that remains even through moments of silence. When a man pulls away, it does not necessarily mean his love has weakened. It may mean he is navigating his own struggles, working through fears, or even trying to protect you from things he does not yet know how to explain. This is where understanding becomes more powerful than emotion. It is easy to react out of insecurity, to assume that distance means disinterest. But love requires more than just feeling. It requires trust. It requires the wisdom to see that silence does not always mean absence, and that a man's withdrawal is often about his internal battles, not his love for you. A relationship built only on emotion will struggle to withstand these moments. If love is only about how someone makes you feel in the present moment, then any sign of distance will create fear. But love that is built on trust, on patience, on the ability to endure even when things feel uncertain, that is the love that lasts. So instead of demanding constant affirmation, choose to understand. Instead of fearing his silence, recognize that love is not always loud. It is found in the quiet moments, in the faith you have in each other, and in the ability to hold on even when things do not always look the way you expect them to. When a man who loves you begins to ignore you, your first instinct might be to chase him, to demand answers, or to fight against the distance he is creating. But the way you respond to his silence can determine whether your relationship grows stronger or begins to unravel. Love is not just about affection and closeness. It is about wisdom, patience, and the ability to navigate difficult moments with grace. Instead of reacting with fear, insecurity, or frustration, understanding his silence can help you respond in a way that strengthens the bond between you. Men and women handle emotions differently. While women often process their feelings through conversation and connection, many men process internally. When faced with stress, uncertainty, or personal struggles, a man may instinctively withdraw, not because he wants to hurt you, but because he does not know how to express what he is feeling. His silence is not always a rejection. Sometimes it is his way of trying to regain control over his emotions before sharing them. The mistake many women make is assuming that his distance is about them, that it means he has lost interest or no longer cares. But in reality, a man's withdrawal often has little to do with his love for you and everything to do with his own battles. So how should you respond? The worst thing you can do is push him further into a corner, demanding explanations when he is not ready to give them. When a man feels pressured or suffocated, he will retreat even further. Instead of chasing him, give him the space to work through what he needs to, while still letting him know you are there. Silence does not always need to be filled. Sometimes the best way to bring him back is to simply remain steady, patient, and present. This does not mean you should accept neglect or emotional distance without communication. But it does mean recognizing the difference between a man who is struggling and a man who is indifferent. A man who truly loves you may step back at times, but he will always find his way back. And when he does, how you handled his silence will shape the future of your relationship. If you meet his withdrawal with anger or desperation, he may feel that he cannot be himself around you. But if you respond with quiet strength and understanding, you create a safe space for him to open up. Love is not just about the easy moments. It is about knowing how to respond when things feel uncertain. A love built on trust, patience, and wisdom will endure even through silence. And when a man knows he can return to you without fear, he will not just come back, he will come back with a deeper love and appreciation for the one who stood by him, even in the quiet. In the journey of love, silence is not always a sign of absence, and distance is not always a sign of rejection. A man who truly loves you may withdraw, not because his love has faded, but because he is fighting battles he does not know how to explain. He may pull away, not because he wants to leave, but because he believes it is the only way to protect you or find his strength again. And in these moments, the way you respond will either draw him closer or push him further away. Love is not just about passion, words, or constant attention. It is about patience, trust, and understanding. It is about knowing that silence does not mean he has stopped loving you, but that he may be searching for a way to love you better. It is easy to love when everything is clear, when emotions are freely expressed, and when reassurance is always present. But true love is tested in the quiet moments, in the waiting, in the times when faith must stand in place of certainty. So if the man who loves you pulls away, do not let insecurity take over. Do not rush to conclusions or react out of fear. Instead, trust in the bond you have built. Give him the space to return, not out of obligation, but because he knows that in you he has found a love that does not waver, even in the silence. Because in the end, the strongest love is not the one that never faces distance. It is the one that endures it and emerges even stronger. Love is not about never stepping back. It is about always finding your way back. And when you choose to love with wisdom, patience, and trust, you create a love that no amount of silence can break.